Perhaps you noticed the last couple of months has been relatively peaceful from these robocalls.
Well, brace yourselves because they're making a comeback. But the news isn't all bad, as KSL consumer investigator Matt Gephardt found as he looked into the return of these robocalls. Matt?
36,100. That is the number of people in Utah who've received a call from a scammer in just the past hour. And while that number might seem high, our investigation found it actually isn't, comparatively speaking. One silver lining of COVID is making it tougher for the scammers to dial you up.
In case we did not hear from you, your social will be blocked permanently.
Unsolicited calls from crooks have been frustrating consumers for years. And whether it's a fraud risk, a spoofed number, or somebody who's totally a scammer, the goal is always the same: steal your identity or your money, or both. But a KSL viewer contacted me because she noticed a spike in such calls in the past month or so. Actually, our investigation found it just seems that way.
It's interesting because my cell phone hasn't been getting them. But
Alex Quilici is the CEO of UMail, a company that records and transcribes voicemails. They also track junk calls. And their data shows actually spam calls are way down compared to before the pandemic started.
From the peak to the trough, it was about a 50% drop in robocalls that we saw.
So where did all the scammers go? Well, they went home.
There's more social distancing, and companies in the U.S. closed their call centers. It dropped. When India closed their centers, and Pakistan and the Philippines, when they locked down, their call centers all closed completely.
As countries around the world begin to reopen, the calls are ramping back up. And after going for a few months with virtually silence from our ringers, perhaps it just feels like it's worse now than ever. But will the number of harassing calls ever return to those pre-COVID levels? This expert thinks they'll never be that bad again.
There's enough between the changes to the economy, the changes due to the pandemic, enforcement efforts, new technologies. All that's making it harder and harder for robocallers to get through to consumers.
There's a ton of relatively new technology aimed at trying to cut down on these scams. You've probably noticed it on your own phone, where the caller ID will warn you that an incoming call may be from a scammer. But experts say watch out. As these sorts of scams become less profitable for crooks, they're sure to move on to other dubious plots. In Salt Lake City, Matt Gephardt, KSL 5 News.
It was a nice break to have from those robocalls. Matt Gephardt reporting. Thank you.